Right now it's Saturday morning and people are starting to arrive to set up their shops on Church Street in between these two beautiful churches in Kingston, out here right on the lakefront. Every Saturday morning the whole parking lot fills up with vendors selling all kinds of goods. And this whole entire parking lot will be completely filled with people in the next couple of hours or so. You can see down this way, it's real close to the clothing shop. And there's the little intersection where you turn in. This is a church that goes by the shore, is the name. They changed their branding here recently. And this brick building on the other side is a white building with a big steeple. It's a historic church that's white on the front end. We'll walk over that way. Right here, there is a book station where people can trade books for free. There's another one of these book stations. If you head down the trails to the playground area at Kingston City Park down this way, and at the front of the children's playground there's another book stand, or there used to be. I think there's still one there. I don't think they took it out. These trails along the waterway connect Kingston City Park and Gravel Pit Park. Beyond that curve there's more trails. Each of those two parks have big pavilions and bathroom facilities, shaded picnicking areas. It's really, really pretty. If you've never visited the Kingston Waterfront Farmers Market on Saturday mornings, they're usually here for, I think, about half the day. Let's walk down the trail a little bit further. So these trails continue way, 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 way down there. We're gonna walk on down to that area. I probably shouldn't give this secret away, but this particular dock that's behind Church Street, if you come out here for a late night fish and you're patient and you get some live worms up here at the Shell station that's just walking distance right around that corner there, if you cast your lines as far away from the end of this dock as you can, you hit some sections of water where the land starts to roll downward and get a little bit deeper. These sections here that are from the dock to the shore are very shallow behind me where I'm standing. But giant blue cats like to hang out around here through this wide section of the channel. And you'll catch ones pretty easily that are the size of your leg or even longer. Kingston City Parks and Rec handles the management of all these trails and parks that are connected by the trails. You can see down this way is 58 Landing with more boat ramps. There's boat ramps down there as well. There's also a public docking system, and if you want to try to rent a space in that docking system right there, you just contact Parks and Rec for Kingston, and there might be a waiting list, but after a year or two you can get on one of those. But we also have Caney Creek Marina, which is up the channel that way, and lots of places where there are marinas in this region, as well as places to park and store your boats and RVs and other things of that nature. Right here along the trail we have a cute little flower garden, and I used to do the gardens over here sometimes. But there is a gal over here whose name always escapes me, but she is so cool. She grew up with a farming family, and she has the most incredible green thumb. And her garden, I asked her to take it over this year, and her gardens have been spectacular. From the very earliest stages of this gardening season, I mean spectacularly beautiful. Now a lot of the bigger, wilder flowers are kind of taken over as the heat is, peak portion of the season here. There's some little ducks hanging out. So this is a good angle to see the front of that historic church that I mentioned earlier. You can see how it converts into that beautiful brick. There's more people arriving to set up their stations at the farmers market. But we are going to head south. So this trail extends for miles and miles southwardly from here. I'm debating how far I'm going to walk this morning. I haven't really decided yet. But we will see what sights we can see along the way. This blue heron's down here hanging out with all the ducks. I don't know if you can hear that bird call or not, but I think that is a mama bird osprey. Is she coming this way? I was right. It is a mama osprey. She's fussing about something. Guess she's letting everybody know this is her fishing spot this morning. Coming to claim her fishing spot. She might be the one that has a nest right in here by the ball field. Could be her. Kind of hard to get a good look at her from this angle. She's got a lot to say this morning. A whole lot to say. Oh, was that an otter? Or a river rat of some sort? Oh, look, there he goes. Maybe he'll come up here. We can get a good picture of him. Oh, there it goes. Oh, there's two. Oh, there they go. Sometimes they will swim over to that dock behind the farmer's market together, and they climb up on the dock and stretch out like they're getting a tan. It's so cute. Looks like they're headed that way. So here you can see we are approaching 58 Landing Park. Up on the hill is the Kingston Library, and this fenced-in area right here is a section that is a dedicated area for a dog park. They call it Fort Paws, and it's just so cute. But there's different little things up there for dogs to like go and socialize with other dogs, which is super cool. Dogs, of course, are welcome on all of the trails and in all of our parks here. Kingston Library is a small brick library with lots of windows. You can enjoy the views. If you are seeking a large full-size library, there is a massive facility at Roane State College. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the public is welcome there. You just go register for a library card. More people are shifting to accessing their information on the internet, but something that I always thought was really cool is you can go to a public library anywhere in the country, look up a book that's anywhere in the country, and they can send a copy of it to your local library. So if you get tired of looking at screens and there's a book that's, you know, on the other side of the country somewhere that you'd prefer to just hold in your hands while you read it, you can do a transfer request. At least that's the way it worked at the library where I used to live before I moved here to Roane. There's something really peaceful about being in a good old-fashioned library. If you continue heading down this way, there is eventually a big wooden bridge on the trail, and to the left of the bridge are tons and tons and tons of turtles. And then beyond that point, you head over to the big historic Civil War fort and the Indian burial grounds, the amphitheater, and several other things. I'm not going to have time to walk all the way down there today. But maybe this helped you learn a little bit more about Kingston and Roane County. And it's definitely a place everyone should visit, especially if they happen to be passing through the region. Up this way on North Kentucky Street, heading north on Kentucky Street, there's a whole bunch of little fast food places and Dollar Tree, Dollar General, gas stations, then Food City after that, where Kentucky Street crosses over Race Street, which is actually, I think, 58 crossing over 70. You can take a left, and then you can head over to Kroger and Lowe's and Walgreens, a bunch of other fast food restaurants and convenience marts. I'm trying to think what else is over that way. A bunch of little banks. There's a nail salon, a hair salon, all kinds of stuff. and more waterfront parks. Once you get past that point, once you pass Kroger and Waggles, you can continue on that road, and eventually on your left you'll see the entrance to Roane County Waterfront Park, which is a beautiful, massive waterfront park that we have down that way. It's got lots of hiking trails all within it, and multiple playgrounds for children, a swimming area. There's a big garden area that's designed by the Roane County Master Gardeners Society every year. It's just very beautiful. All along these shorelines through here, you are allowed to go fishing, and it just makes for a really good time. But the best spot is that spot I showed earlier in my video, if you want to catch a really big one. Looks like the farmer's market is filling up with more vendors setting up. This section of the trail, at certain times of the year, there are massive networks of wisteria vines and trees in this section of wooded area across from this section of the trail. And when they all start blooming, this whole section of trail, it just feels like you're walking through a breeze of wisteria blossoms. It smells amazing, absolutely amazing. We also have a large number of fishing tournaments, and if you want to look up when those are, some of them will be advertised on the Roane Tourism website. This is a big row of mayflies. The mayflies, honestly, I've never seen mayflies until I moved to Roane County in early 2020 from Blount County. And growing up, I didn't really spend a great deal of time around lakes. Mostly I spent time by the rivers up in the mountains. But the mayflies are a huge source of food for the ducks and the fish and the birds. And their peak season has already passed, so you don't see that many of them anymore. Southern Roane Farm is here today with their meat freezers. They usually have a large variety of beef and lamb products. Lots of different cuts of meat, ground beef, as well as organ meats. They have a great selection. After I had COVID, I had a really rough go of COVID around, that bird just dive bombed next to that boat, it looked like. Anyway, back in, I guess, December 2020 was when I got COVID the first time and had a really rough go of it. Got diagnosed with long COVID. Anyway, recovery from that was really challenging, and I would come out here to the trail and not really be able to do very much. And there was an older gentleman I'd bump into a lot on the trail. I think he was maybe in his 90s. And he would encourage me, and he told me that he did 3 miles every day. And he'd tell me stories about his childhood in Roane County and how his family used to have property over this way, and where roads used to be and where they are now, and where bridges used to be and where they are now, and memories he had as being a little boy and having to take a boat to cross the river so that he could go get to a doctor because he had a fever. One of the clients I listed land for, if you head north on Kentucky, past Food City and then take a road called Skyline, I had some lakefront property for sale for one of my clients out that way. Oh look, there's another blue heron. But the gentleman who owned that land, he had purchased it in the, I think, early 70s, if I recall. A lot of the neighborhoods and subdivisions throughout Roane County, when you research their deed history, you'll see that they were established and subdivided around the 1960s and 50s. Anyway, he had told me that to cross over the waterway heading north of here, you had to take a ferry. And that was in the 70s, he said. It's really fascinating and beautiful to imagine that kind of a pace of life, you know. Throughout Kingston, you'll see these beautiful banners that honor many of our local hometown heroes. There is the football stadium for our local high school. A lot of people miss these, but these are some old concrete historic stairs from where there used to be a different structure here. You can see some of those base pieces from those historic structures, but it's kind of a nice spot to just kind of walk down and take it all in. Right here is the section of the buildings that are part of Roane County High School, and it overlooks the waterway. When I first moved to Roane County around early 2020, I started visiting Roane County in like 2019, and when I moved out here practicing real estate, I ended up having a consultation with a gentleman who had a drive-in movie theater and some additional real estate that he was looking at getting sold. And I think he ended up doing for sale by owner, and I never really followed up on with what happened. I think maybe is he eating a fish? Yeah, he's caught a fish and he's just, hi there. Hi, good morning. How are you? They're so cute. Hi. Hi there. Oh, there's this little friend. I bet this is the pair that I saw earlier. They both caught fish. Look how cute. Oh my gosh. Hi. Hi there. I was hoping we'd bump back into them on our walk. They're so darn cute. Okay, what was I talking about? The drive-in movie theater. So, if I remember correctly, the drive-in movie theater and all the grounds were sold. And I think maybe to like, for residential purposes. This is a nice bathroom facility with a picnic area and a pavilion. This talks about the Southwest Point history. Okay, so back to what I was saying about that drive-in movie theater that got sold. I really wonder if a traditional style movie theater, something a little more high-end and indoors, would do really well in Roane County, especially if they placed it, you know, near this area here, maybe just right around this area here, because this point here is where the waterways branch into two major directions, and the roads also branch north, south, east, west, but also in angles, like a series of angles going all these different directions. So if you place a business near Kingston City Park, it makes it really accessible to everybody in the whole county, everyone kind of having similar drive times to get there. We don't have a big shopping mall here. If you want to go do big shopping, you drive over to the Farragut area. So something like that would be really nice to have here as well. And if you connected the movie theater to it, I would hope it would do well. I know that there's a lot of small businesses in the area, and if someone was to build a facility like that but keep the rents super low, or do a rent structure where, you know, it was based on revenue, so it fluctuated, get a tiny fraction of their sales revenue and keep a really super low rent. That way it could attract local vendors and small business owners. Create a place to hang out that's indoors on days when the heat is especially hot, or the cold is especially cold, or it's rainy or whatever. A lot of malls across the country are not really doing very well from articles that I've read. So that endeavor might be kind of a tricky one. But the movie theater, the indoor movie theater, to have a luxury indoor movie theater here, I would think would do very well, because that's just something that's accessible to everyone of all ages. It's a great date night. It's a great way to cool off in the summer. And it can perform well year-round. And I think a lot of people here would utilize it. It's just a good way to gather socially. And if it was a luxury indoor movie theater, I can't see how it wouldn't be a great success. So that's something I wish we had here. And if you're a company that is looking to find land to build something like that, I can definitely find that land for you on or off market. Well, I'm at about 30 minutes with this video. Hopefully you learned some new things about Roane County and Kingston. Kingston and Harriman, 10 Mile, Midtown, and Rockwood are the communities in Roane County. And it's just a really beautiful, special place. Very peaceful, very country, very convenient at the same time though. Lots of beautification projects, always expanding. I have been so very proud of our Parks and Rec and our local governments here. They've just really done a beautiful job. So if you have real estate goals anywhere in Tennessee, my business model is designed to serve the entirety of Tennessee. I work with buyers, sellers, investors, hedge funds, any kind of real estate need you could imagine. You can find my contact information at TennesseeLandAndHomeStore.com. Have a great day.